According to Associated Press, Russian President Vladimir Putin compared Elon Musk with a leading Soviet rocket engineer on Wednesday, saying that his ambition to establish a human colony on Mars was similar to the ideas of Sergei Korolev, the man behind the first human flight to space. One might say, Elon Musk is crazy about Mars. Such people rarely appear in the human population, inspired by a certain idea. It's like the ideas of Soviet rocket engineer Sergei Korolev that were once realized, Putin said at a meeting with students Wednesday. Of course, this is a grandiose and interesting task. I am sure it will gather more and more supporters. We also have certain plans, he added.
Мечтаю после окончания университета работать над проектом пилотируемого полета на Марс. Как вы думаете, будет ли мне такая возможность и планируется ли создание такого проекта в России?
Есть человек в Штатах, он живет, Маск, который, можно сказать, бредит Марсом. Но такие люди не часто появляются в человеческой популяции, заряженные на определенную идею, как в свое время были реализованы идеи того же Королева. Первое, что нужно решить, эту проблему длительного и безопасного пребывания человека в космосе. И не просто в ближнем космосе, а в дальнем космосе. Второе, нужно решить вопрос с новыми способами передачи информации. Третье, это обеспечить энергетикой будущие объекты. Но в целом, конечно, это грандиозная задача, интересная. Она, уверен, будет все больше и больше сторонников собирать. У нас тоже есть определенные планы.
The bloody strikes on Ukraine during the so-called peace negotiation process are the result of showdowns in the Kremlin, Ukrainian military expert Oleg Zdanov believes. In his opinion, disagreements within the political leadership of Russia are resulting in terror against the Ukrainian population. Please note, as soon as the US President's special envoy Steve Witkoff meets with Putin's envoy Kirill Dmitriev, immediately, literally the next day, on the Russian side, we have such a terrorist act against the civilian population with the maximum number of victims in Sumy, says Oleg Zdanov. At the same time, he said, the deadly Russian strikes we are suffering from show that Putin is probably not in control of the situation in Russia. Perhaps he would be ready to negotiate, but we do not know whose side he is on today. We can only assume that he is on the side of the liberals for an operational pause, which he really needs, and we are waiting for this to develop into a confrontation between clans in the Kremlin itself. This could lead to instability in Russia itself, says Oleg Zdanov. In his opinion, Putin is unlikely to be against Trump's peace initiatives. Well, Dmitriev can't so actively promote the idea of an agreement on a ceasefire, restoration of diplomatic relations, without having the authority to do so. Is Putin really not in control of the situation? Or is the Liberal Party so strong that they can ignore Putin? The expert says. At the same time, according to him, Trump is not able to influence Putin and stop the war in Ukraine. At the same time, according to him, the conditional folder with the inscription Trump in Russia may not be in Putin's hands. Maybe it's not Putin. Maybe the same Patrushev, maybe Bortnikov, the head of the FSB. Who has the folder with the name Trump? That's the question, because Dmitriev has the authority and his level of negotiations is much higher. Who is Lavrov talking to in Istanbul? With a representative of the Biden administration. And who is Dmitriev talking to? With the person who talks directly to Trump. The level is completely different. And if Dmitriev is acting on behalf of Putin, it's hard to say. There's a snake pit there. We'll see. As Churchill said, whichever bulldog crawls out from under the carpet, you'll talk to, but never get involved when Russian bulldogs are tearing each other apart under the carpet, the expert says. The Russians tried to boast about the technological nature of their attacks on Ukraine, but got into a scandal. RIA Novosti propagandists themselves revealed that the operators of the attack drones were working directly from Moscow City. Now, even Z channels admit Moscow's business center has become a legitimate military target for Ukraine. Now there is every reason for a new attack. While the Russians were posting a video with pathos about the amazing capabilities of the new system, even the propagandists realized the Ukrainian armed forces strike on the skyscrapers was a matter of time. The post was quickly deleted, but the screenshots and the reaction remained. RIA Novosti released a story about the use of FPV OVOD drones controlled via the new Orbiter system. According to them, one of the drones hit a target in Chasovoy Yar remotely from Moscow City. The drone crew prepared the launch, and the operator from Moscow City carried out a precise attack, the description said. In the video, the operator is at the control panel in a glass office with a view of the towers and the center of the capital. Exactly an hour after the publication, a storm of criticism began. Russian Z channels, including The Empire is Very Evil, sharply condemned the propaganda. Well done, you bragged. Now Moscow City is a legitimate target, the administrators wrote. The video was first cleaned up. The mention of the location was removed, but the wave of discontent did not subside. Dozens of Z channels, including pro-Russian Telegram communities with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, began accusing RIA and SVO speakers of irresponsibility. Some compared what was happening to shooting at one's own people, but only in the information field. Now, when a Ukrainian drone flies into a tower, explaining that it is a civilian target is simply stupid, write military bloggers. The distance from Moscow City to Chasov Yar is about 495 kilometers. The Russian side has effectively confirmed that the strikes on Ukrainian cities are being coordinated from peaceful offices in the business center of Moscow. Now, every salvo from the orbiter makes the skyscrapers near the Kremlin less and less protected from a moral and legal point of view. And if in the future the Ukrainian armed forces launch a pinpoint strike on the control centers, the Kremlin will have to justify itself, not to NATO, but to its own citizens. Even Russian propagandists admit, if it flies, it will be for good reason.